one of the most make an example cases in any sport in history. And unfortunately, it's going to have to be in darts.
Yeah, and a lot of these players won't be able to afford the big if they get a big fine anyway. Let alone the ban. It's how you just ruined your life. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like I don't know. Welcome to the Mission Darts podcast episode. Your favourite double, episode 32. Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird one today because Matt's a long, long way away. And I can see him, I can hear him perfectly well, but his lips aren't moving when he talks. So, so the interaction might be a little bit different to normal. I'm sure it's going to be fine when we record it. And you're watching this back going, what was Andy on about? It was perfectly normal. But to me, it's a bit strange because you're kind of freezing and then not freezing. But we will get through it. You're millions of miles away. No, maybe not millions, but we're going to do it anyway, because we don't want to let our fans down. And talking of fans, Matt, big shout out again this week. I want some subscribers. Over 1,000 people watched the pod last week that aren't subscribed. So please, guys, it's how we get more guests on. It's how we grow the channel. We need subscribers. Right, I've got that out of the way. How are you in sunny Germany? Are you in Germany?
It really is sunny as well. Look, I mean,
yeah,
you won't probably be able to see this because look, if I look at my look.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. It is nice here, Matt, actually. It's not bad at all.
It's absolutely sweating. And the worst thing is, where the commentary box is, we can't open the windows. So it's going to be very, very hot day today. Very hot. Not looking forward to that bit, to be honest with you.
And to be fair, you like your shorts in England. So, you're going to be rather... Is it Germany that you're in? Have I got that right or not?
Yeah, Hildesheim. Hildesheim, Germany.
Oh, Hildesheim again. Oh, right. Yeah, that's becoming a popular place for them, isn't it, to do stuff?
It's the Wigan of Germany.
Is it twinned with Wigan? Do they make pies?
I tell you what they do, though. Anyone who ever goes to Hildesheim, there's an amazing steakhouse that we went to last night. You would have loved it, Andy, right up your street. It was called something like Doriano or Doreno or something, right? And
it's probably nothing like that, Matt, is it? It's nothing like that. There's somebody local now going, oh, Christ.
Do you know what? I had Chateaubriand.
That's between two people?
Yes.
You didn't have it to yourself?
No, I shared it. I shared
right,
Chateaubriand.
Okay.
Yes.
You got another friend?
Yeah, I've got two. Yeah, yeah. So we had the Chateaubriand, and I had it with fried potatoes cooked in garlic and bacon, chips, of course, garlic and herb butter, and fried onions.
So there's people listening now going, hang on a minute, Matt. Every week you go on how posh Andy is and blah, 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 and you've had Chateaubriand. But in my head, I'm now thinking, were Sky paying? Because that's why you've had the dearest bloody thing on the menu. I know you, Edgar. If you were paying, I'll just have the fries. Oh dear. So anyway, it's good to see you. Not in person like last week. I kind of quite like that last week, sitting next to you, Matt. I quite like that.
I'm looking at the collar here of this shirt as well. Maybe I need to get a new shirt for this. Is like my dowsing around the hotel shirt. I need to get a new one. But yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you enjoy having a? I've got to be careful. Every time I lean back, I get the sun in the eyes. So got to be careful with that one.
So you there doing a couple of pro tours, I presume?
Yeah, yesterday's, so we're filming this on Tuesday. Yesterday's Monday's one by Gary Anderson. Great story, by the way, Adam Lipscomb. One of my favourite stories I think I've ever seen on the Pro Tour. He got knocked out of Q School in stage 1. He was on the way home, he was an hour away from his house, and he got a phone call saying David Pallett doesn't want to play stage 2. Would you like to take his place? He said, absolutely. Came back, got through Q School, got a tour card, and on event number 7, he's in a Pro Tour final, making £10,000, looking very good now for the Players' Championship finals at Minehead. He had a few wins at the UK Open as well. He's looking very strong. And, you know, you look at that and think he got knocked out stage 1. It was only because of withdrawals that he actually got an opportunity. So those sort of stories, doesn't it make you think, though, how many people got knocked out of Q School that could compete on the Pro Tour?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a very fine line. We've said it for ages, Matt. Look, at the end of the day, I wasn't a world beater. I was never going to be top 16 in the world. I don't know how far. I might have been a top 64, maybe a top 50 player. I have no idea. Right? I'll never know. I was only on the tour 4 months. Now, I got through on day one. Now, you would, in those days, as well, the people listening probably don't know, but there were 4 days, and I think was it 2 got through each day plus
4,
another 8. Was it 4 each day? Right. Okay.
4 each day, yeah.
So I've just turned up and just played the best darts I've ever played for 1 day, right? And just smashed everybody and took out Jeff Smith, etc., got my tour card. Now, there will have been players there that day, I guarantee, better than me, but they didn't get through. So that isn't a fair system. Now, I know we've changed it a bit and whatever, but I still believe that the feeder has got to come from the Challenge Tour. It's got to be more weighted to the Challenge Tour. That's over a year, Matt. That's a year of proving whether you can play at this game, not 4 days. You know, anybody can play well for 4 days. We've seen on the tennis tour, on the golf tour, players coming, winning a tournament, and you never see them again because they've had their 4 days of brilliance that everyone's capable of. But the Challenge Tour proves week in, week out whether you can cut it. And so, yeah, it's a great story, that. And do you know what? There's a documentary at the moment on, you know, I like my golf, and they're following round players on the tour. And it got me thinking, I wonder whether that'd work. I bet people would love that if they did a darts one.
Yeah.
Stories like this would emerge that I only getting to hear, Matt, through you. I would never know about this story, but neither would our viewers, but for you being there at the heart of it. And I bet there's loads of these little stories going on that you think, wow, that's amazing. What, you know, somebody's got through on the very last dart they've thrown, or the opposite. You know, we all know the stories of, you know, players that have missed winning doubles to beat world champions. And, you know, there's so much of that.
There's well, when you think about it, there's 128 players here and everyone's got their own individual story. And I can tell you, I'm not going to name names, but one of the greatest players to ever play this game, during my period of time, I know was that down in the dumps, that down on his luck, that he used to sleep in the hotel room of other players, because he couldn't afford a hotel room. And he used to have to share the room, put a sleeping bag on the floor. Now a millionaire.
Brilliant.
And that is within a period of, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, and I think I've got an idea who it is. But like you say, it's not fair to name names. But it's incredible. And those sort of rags to riches stories are what players that are at home now thinking, I've got a bit of talent here. I work hard of it. I might have a chance. I might go to tour school next year.
Okay, actually, I've got one here. I've got a great one. It's just made me think of one here. Great one. The UK Open 2011, my first UK Open. Now, I've talked a lot about having a family young and not really having a lot of money, disposable income. I've talked about this story quite a bit. But the UK Open 2011, I went to that event. Now, I qualified for that. And the exciting thing for me was I didn't have to pay an entry fee. Back in those days, £105. So I qualified for the UK Open, and it was a chance to go and do something where I didn't. And that was in the days of the Thursday night. So I've done the Thursday night, qualified through there to the Friday. You play one game on the Friday. I won the game on the Friday and got through to the Saturday. By the time I got through to the Saturday, I didn't have enough money for a hotel room. I had to borrow money so I could afford to stay, so I could play the Saturday. Or else I'd had to have gone home. I couldn't have played because I only had enough money that was for me getting home, like my petrol to get me back home. That's all I had left. I'd spent it all on the hotel for the first couple of nights and what I spent while I was there. So I had to borrow money so I could stay to play the 5th round of the UK Open. Like, I mean, the last 32 of a major tournament, I'm having to borrow money so I can play it. And ironically, though, from that, I mean, the UK Open certainly wasn't a good payer back then either. I got £2,000. You know, 14 years ago, £2,000's not bad.
Yeah.
And I went, right, I've got £2,000. and said to the family, I went, right, well, we've got £2,000. We can spend this and it's gone, or I can invest it in myself. And I believe in myself. I said, so I will take this £2,000 and I'll put it into a separate bank account. So we never have to spend our own money on this dream now that I've got. It's the money I've won. And then from there, what we'll do is anything I win will go into that account and I'll just keep playing. So I could afford about 14 tournaments with really cheap expenses on top.
Yeah.
And I went, if I win anything, that means I can play 16 tournaments. If I win anything, it means I can play 18. And I'll just keep going until it's gone. And it never went.
Brilliant.
And that's why in some ways it bugs me when people message you and they're like, I really want to go play, but have you got some sponsors? And it's like, take the plunge, go do it. I had to sell my PlayStation to get the money for those UK Open qualifiers.
Yeah, and that's the I think that is a problem these days. And I sound like old grandfather time here, but I think people want it on a plate. They want to be given. They want. I need a car. I need 10 grand in my bank account. I need all my equipment. I need all my shirts. Right, I've got all that. Right now, I'll go and be pro. Hang on a minute. You earn it. You earn, and that's a great story there of how you earned it. Funnily enough, the weirdest thing popped in my mind when you were talking about the money thing was we used to go into Blackpool. You know, I'm from Blackpool. We used to go to Blackpool, play the slots, and spend our bus fare own money. So we had to walk home like about 6 miles because you're playing the slots, aren't you? I'll just have another 50p. I might win the jackpot. No, right, we're all walking home again, lads. Spent the chippy money you were supposed to have. So you've had no food. You've not got the bus. You just put it all in the slots. But that's slightly different. But oh dear.
Well, we're going to Blackpool soon.
We are going Blackpool soon. Which is exciting, but and some new venues there and various other things. And by the time this comes out, Matt, I know we've got lots of crossover fans. We've got podcast people and that watch the main channel, and nice to see some people still in the club. Watched every one of the 32 episodes, so fair play to you. Rate My Hockey will have gone out this week. The worst one ever. The worst rate. If you haven't seen it, guys, if you don't even know what we're talking about, it's a show that we do on the Mission Darts YouTube channel where we go to venues and we rate them. Okay. And we do the best that we can. Lots of different categories. This week's Now Then. Remember we said it might have been a wind up. Yeah. It actually wasn't. I've had an email this week from a guy saying, I'm one of the, I think there's about 8 people said we should go. I'm one of those people. And the reason I wanted you to go is because it is so bad. And I wanted it to stand out so that the owners do something about it. So he was honest enough to say that in an email to me this week, that he'd recommended it because it's got potential, but it needs some money spending. Now, I think said it needs quite a lot of money spending. But if you haven't seen that, potentially worst venue ever on this week's Rate My Hockey, Matt. You were glad to get out, weren't you?
Alive. Yeah. I had genuine concerns of some form of assault happening to me. Yeah. And at no point, even being anywhere near the venue, did that fear of assault ever leave me. Certainly, whilst we was sat there or stood there, giving it the lowest scores we've ever given Rate My Hockey. However, we can own, and this is what I say with commentary as well. You can only say what's in front of you because the viewer is not stupid. The viewer can see it. We have pictures. It's the same as when I'm doing commentary. If someone's playing bad, I can't not say this is an under par performance because the viewer can see it. There's stats, there's data, there's everything there. My job is to say what the viewer sees, to say what to narrate the story. And the same thing here with the with that Rate My Hockey. The view.
There's no way you've just done that on the podcast. Like, really? You're not a well person. You're not a well person. If you're in the comments below and you're offended, please do let us know. Please do let us know. because he just can't help himself. Honestly, he's like a 13-year-old child sometimes, or maybe he's forgot that we were recording. I don't know. But anyway, moving on from that, the worst rate my hockey ever.
Oh, you're right. I'm not well. Oh.
No, you're not well. We know you're not well. You're absolutely. You're not well. It's that right. Chateaubriand. That's the problem, Matt. You've put some decent food in you, and your body's going, "Oh, I can't deal with this."
Chateaubriand.
Get me pie and chips.
If I said to you, "What did I eat for dinner last night?" I reckon Chateaubriand would be bottom of your list.
I'd have had 50 guesses before I'd have gone Chateaubriand. No, it'd have been egg. I'd have started at egg and chips, and I'd have moved up from there. You were talking about Pro Tours yesterday. Another good run by Mike Dedeker. He looks to be in form. Mission Zone. Can we get back to the podcast? You stop killing yourself. I think I've lost him, ladies and gentlemen. He might need to calm down for a little bit. Well, anyway, Pro Tour yesterday that Matt was commenting on. Mike Dedeker got to semi-final. Gary Anderson won it. He's a weird one at the moment. Lots of people have been saying for ages that Anderson's back in form and this, that, and the other. And then he got battered in the Worlds, did nothing in the UK Open, and then he's come back and won a Pro Tour. He's all over the. I mean, he's clearly not done. He's not over. But it's a bit of a strange one, Gary Anderson. I can't work out whether he's given up or clearly not. I don't know.
I predicted Gary Anderson yesterday. So on the way to the venue yesterday, we had a little game in the minibus. Who's going to win the Pro Tour? I said Gary Anderson. So I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make another one. I'm going to do another prediction today and see if it comes through. People will know on Sunday. So I'm just going to have a look at the entry list again, just to remind myself.
What for today are you doing?
For today, so when people comes out on Sunday, right, people know if I get right or not.
So we're recording this on the Tuesday. So Matt is predicting the Pro Tour for Tuesday.
I got Monday right, Gary Anderson. I got that one right. I'm going to go with. See, something in me saying Damon Heta, but I think it's going to be a bit more left field than that.
You're putting a lot of thought into this, Matt. It is only a game. It's not real life.
Okay, I'm going to go with... Do you know what? I'm going to go with... See, I think Josh Rock's playing well at the minute.
Right, you've had long enough. I'm bored.
I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Ryan Searle.
Because he's your mate. You're going with him because he's your mate.
Well,
or is he in form?
He won a Pro Tour the other week. I think he could double up.
Okay.
He had 9 data in the first leg of the tournament yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. Well, we don't often talk a lot of darts, but I said it last week. There seems to have been a lot lately to talk about in the world of darts. And yet again, it's reared its head. It's given us a topic for this week. Somebody else has been banned. Prakash Jiwa from Modus. He was playing on Pro Tour when I was. 8-year ban for match fixing. 8 years. So that's basically his career over because he's not a young man. 8-year ban for match fixing. Matt, my question is, as always, when are they going to learn? When are they going to learn? They're not going to get away with it, Matt. You've said it. You've said you're no way getting away with it.
Well, the thing is, I think with this case, maybe the players thought they had because it was 4 counts. So maybe tried it once, done it again, and that's the issue. 18 grand nearly the fine as well to pay. So that, like I say, career is over. I know the system. I understand the system. Now, people will sit home and go, yeah, but what if you put a bet on and it'll be fine? And or if you go to the shop and do it, people will think there's a way around the system. There isn't. Trust me, you will get found. And, you know, this isn't another player. This is the same case. So this is the same. This is just the what's been announced is the result of the case. It's been one that's gone well. Now, this is where I do think sometimes it becomes a little bit unfair on the organisers because it dribs out. So it goes, right, there's been someone's been lit. Someone's been greenlit on, the potential. That gets announced. Then the investigation starts. That gets announced. Then they get found guilty. That gets found. That gets announced. And then they get the consequences. That gets announced. So that same player gets announced like 4 times, which makes it look like there's lots of different cases ongoing, and that it's happening loads. But it really isn't. It's very sort of a rare thing. But what I will also say is, if this is an 8-year ban and an £18,000 fine, I dread to think what's coming soon.
Yeah.
There is a case that I think is going to be eye-watering in regards to the outcome. And with that, I think could be like one of the most make an example cases in any sport in history. And unfortunately, it's going to have to be in darts.
Yeah, and a lot of these players won't be able to afford if they get a big fine anyway, let alone the ban. It's how, you just ruined your life. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like, I don't know. I don't know, Matt. You honestly think you're going to be smarter than all these mega computers that betting companies have got that can track everything within a minuscule? You think you're going to be smarter than them? Yeah, brilliant. Well, guess what? You're not.
I won't go too much into obviously details of things and whatever, but one of the cases that has been sort of in play, shall we say, over time was, and people think this is for like big bucks that these things have happened, was 30 quid. 30 quid was the stake of one of these potentially life-damaging cases. Because it's not just that. I mean, you've got how we react to these things. I mean, at Mission, we've got Vessel Nyman, someone who went through very similar, owned it. He looked at it, hands up, and then looked into how we could help stop other people going down the same things. He did a lot of educational stuff. He spent a lot of his time trying to make people aware of the pitfalls and the dangers and the people you're dealing with, because a lot of the time it is organized crime. So
yeah, of course,
he sort of worked with to try and prevent. So you look at that and you go, right, okay, well, maybe you deserve a second chance because you've sort of responded in a certain way. Now, and he was young, and that response makes a big difference. But when you look at some of them, it's like the remorse is very different. And also with that, how different is it now for these people? Even Vessel, who sort of, you could say turned his sort of career around now. But how hard is that? Like, if, let's say, for example, one of these people don't live in the world of darts no more and want to go get a job, the first thing you do as an employer is you look now at people, you Google people, you put them into social media, see what their interactions are like. That's going to be at the very top of the Google searches because it's one of the hottest topics around you. And anytime you type in one of these players' names, that is going to be one of the top 5 on Google. How do you explain that to an employer if you haven't got that sort of... So it's not just career damaging, it's potentially very, very harmful. Certainly if you want a high profile job, you just lowered down your career prospects massively.
Sure, yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. Totally agree. I did mention Mike Dedecker a minute ago for the Pro Tour, and I forgot to say, so I'll say now, those of you waiting for his darts, they've been delayed. And they've been delayed from what I said either in the podcast last week or the week before, because China's got a tungsten problem. And this is going to start happening more and more, Matt. Your darts were delayed, my darts were delayed, and now Mike Dedecker's darts have been delayed in China. They've been made. They're sat in a factory, in a box, boxed up, ready to be sent to us, and the Chinese government won't let them out. They have to now jump through hoops just to be able to export tungsten and have to prove that they're darts and they're not just billets and blah, 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 blah. They're actually stuck in China. So the latest we've heard is it's going to be a couple of weeks. So instead of end of March, it's going to be second week of April, something like that, which is a nightmare for us and for all these fans and for people waiting for a set, But this is the right outlet to give people a bit of an update on that. Mike starts will be coming basically as soon as we've got them. Unfortunately, there's a tungsten problem in China. Whatever next? I mean, what's worse, COVID, or tungsten problem? It's on a
Pirates.
path. Yeah, pirates. Yeah, we've had that as well, haven't we?
Yeah, they stole all the little darts, didn't they? At the start of the year.
Right, Matt. I've got a big topic. Will I say it's a big topic? You might not think it is, but something I've been thinking about, and you're the right man. Is it on my what list? My poo list. Yeah, very good. So this is something I've been thinking about all week because I've been watching quite a lot of other sport at the weekend. And I want to get your take on it as somebody that's heavily involved and has been a pro. Should there be a time limit on throwing your darts, just like there is now in tennis? There's a 30-second you have to serve, otherwise you lose the point. In snooker, there's now a shot clock for how long you can take. There is in pool and golf, you can be penalized shots if you take too long. Should there be a time limit in darts that you have got to throw 3 darts and retrieve them? Yes or no, and then explain.
Okay, I will give you 3 answers. Okay. First one is, I think, in the day and the generation of people with very short attention spans, not people that are here on this podcast, because you're sat here listening to an hours long episode every week. You're in the sort of 30 plus brigade. I'm talking 18, 19-year-olds who want all the information in 5 seconds. Yes, it's good for those. And that's ultimately the next generation. So appeal to short attention spans. The next thing is, I would say no on the basis of, I think then it could. I think it would be an interesting factor, because if I was on there, you had 30-second shot clock, and I was playing someone, it was annoying them. I would go 29 seconds every time, just to wind them up, and be like, just make it by a second every time, just so there was like, look, ref, he's taking the mickey, and I can't do anything. He's within the 30 seconds. So I would literally run it to 29 seconds every time, and then it becomes another factor of the game. It becomes a bit basketball then, doesn't it? A bit of mind games. And then the next thing I was going to suggest, or this is where I'm going to throw the question back at you and say, if you're adding in a 30-second shot clock, name me the players that rule relates to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. Maybe it can be 15. I don't know what, or 20. I don't know what the correct number is.
But even 20 seconds, at 20 seconds, which dart players in the professional game will fall foul to a 20-second shot clock?
Yeah, so and that's not why this came up in my head as a question, right? I'm not aiming at the slow players so much. What I've seen now, and you'll be seeing it because you're commentating on it, I'm seeing players at certain points in the game, right, it's your turn to play. Where is he? Oh, he's wandered off to have a drink. Right, now he's turning around at the crowd. Now he's going back to the hockey. Now he's stepped back from the hockey. Now he's gone back to the hockey again. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You're taking like a minute here and you've not thrown your darts. And you're doing it clearly to put the other person off. You're not doing it for your own... it's not we've got certain players and we know who they are who, right, it's a match start, I'll take a bit of extra time. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid because you don't practice that. So why are you taking extra time just because it's match start? And invariably they miss. So I'm not aiming at that. I'm seeing it more and more. You require 100. Where is he? Oh, he's gone. He stood at this table. Why is he not throwing? Oh, hang on a minute. Now he's messing with his flight. Now he's taking the hockey. Oh, now he's stopped again. Now the crowd are making noise, so he's waiting for that to stop. For God's sake, get on with it, man. Okay, that's what I'm aiming it at.
So I'll put you a counterclaim forward, just like in court. I'm the defendant.
Okay.
What about the throw before, you Robin Hood your dart, you bust your stem. You need to change your stem over. Your hands are a bit shaky. You've got to put your flight back in. You drop the dart at the hockey. Your shoelace comes undone. What do you miss a visit?
You've got moulded flights, mate, so the flight don't come out. No, that's a
Here we go. You got slip-on shoes.
Your shoes have slipped off. Your pants have come down. Your buttons burst on your pants.
But yeah, you've got all these different.
You've spilled water down your top.
Gerwyn Price drops the dart all the time. What he drops the dart, it's bounced down the hockey a little bit. He's had to go retrieve it, comes back 40.
I think that'd be great. I think that would be absolute. Kurt Bevan turns around and says, "Sorry, your time's up."
Do you know what?
I love it.
I'd like?
Or could it be? I've got it, Matt. I've got it. It's a one-off speed tournament. You've got 10 seconds to throw your darts and retrieve them. And if you don't, it's no score. And it's just a one-off tournament. That'd be great.
Do you know what, right? This is where I'm going to sound probably a bit boring.
Okay.
Because I love all those concepts. But I think those concepts only exist on platforms like YouTube. I don't think it's something you can have because if I go to the darts or if I'm going to watch the darts, and this is probably my commentator voice coming through, and as I'm sitting here, the sun's coming round more and more, and I'm starting to get, I'm going to get like quarter of a tan.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
It's going to blind me in, and it's literally just up here. It's like it's nearly in the eye line. So
the viewers really care. They really feel sorry for you.
So with that, if I'm involved in a sporting event, and this is probably my professional capacity speaking, I want to watch the players perform to the best of their ability. And I don't want to watch them in any way that's going to hinder their ability. So there's all these sort of fun things like, what if they swap darts? What if you had a 10-second clock? Well, the 10-second clock is going to be great for Ricky Evans, and it's going to suck for Brendan Dolan. So with that game is now an unfair advantage to Ricky, who's used to playing in a quicker way than Brendan Dolan is. So I'm not going to get to watch that game to the best of its capacity. And when I watch sport, I want to see people be able to deliver it to the best of their ability. I don't want to see something that hinders their performance. Now, I don't mind for a challenge, for a leg, for a something where you go, do you know what? I wonder what it's like to see Ricky Evans throw with straws. I wonder what it's like. Can Michael Van Gerwen play with little dinky darts? Can Michael Van Gerwen play with heavy darts? I don't mind seeing these sort of challenges there and then, but the idea of what's Michael Van Gerwen like with the board on the roof, him laying down, throwing darts, and if he misses, it skewers him in the face. That doesn't appeal to me as a tournament because I'm not going to see him at the best.
We all know you'd much rather hear him sing Angels.
I got tagged in something this week on Twitter. Alan Suter, right? He wanted 50. Yeah. He stood there. He bent over, threw it over his head, hit the 18, and then stood on the hockey next to it and hit the double 16. The best 50 finish I've ever seen. That's an exhibition. Alan Suter, you know the drill. Then he went and sung Angels.
No, Alan definitely doesn't sing Angels. No, you take the high road and I'll take the low road. He might have sung that. Oh dear.
Oh Christ. Oh,
are you all right?
Oh, right.
You got a cramp?
No, what I've been doing, right, because there's no footrest on here. Because there's no footrest on here, I've got this bin, right, and I've been just putting my foot on the bin. But I leant down then after putting the blind down and I missed it and I ended up putting my foot in the bin and whacking my shin.
Oh. And you were a wrestler. I mean, it's just mind-blowing, Matt, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how you get dressed in the morning sometimes. It really is just...
This looks better, actually, now I've shut that blind by 75%, actually.
Yeah, all our audio listeners going, yeah, you look far better now, Matt. Thanks for that. Can you put a bit more gel in your hair next week? We couldn't care less. So anyway, moving on. Comments. Look at this. Pages. Look, man, pages of comments. No.
Can you read them?
Yeah, I can read them. I printed them big enough this week. Right, okay, here we go with Peter Armitage, 3078. When I play 301 in the office at lunchtime, one of the guys I play with stands at the side and looks at me rather than at the board when I'm throwing, and it's massively off-putting, similar to someone stands over the pocket when you're taking your shot playing pool. Not only is it off-putting, but it's a bit creepy. Any suggestions? I know what your suggestion's going to be.
Okay, so the first thing is there's no rule against that. He can stand where he wants. He can stand next to the dartboard if he wants to. It's an unwritten rule. You stand behind your opponent. So he knows the game. He knows the drill. If it's annoying you, he's already winning. It's doing what it was supposed to do. So you're already losing on that one. My honest suggestion for you is the night before, make sure you have like some beans, some Brussels sprouts, something like that, and just let off some really ghastly farts. He is not going to want to stand next to you then.
We know certain pro players that have done that. Some very, very famous ones as well. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Will MC Neil 5735. Good podcast again, Andy and Matt. Most weeks you keep mentioning Blackpool. I think the two of you should do a Blackpool tour. Try and find some places to play, but you'll be putting your life on the line, but you will get a pint for under £2. I think you mentioned it earlier. We're going. So thank you for that comment. We are going. SOA Swig. I know it's obviously on Mervyn. This is obviously talking about what we spoke about last week with his tax evasion and stuff. And it's plain stupid. And this is where this question's out to you. Surely the PDPA advise their members on such things as this. Isn't this what they're there for? Matt, please answer.
Yeah. We've also got there's a recommended accountant as well through the PDPA who basically deals with all dart players, commentators, everybody. I've been dealing with him for about 5 years now. He's been my accountant and he's very, very good and he's very, very reasonably priced. So I can't...
There is somebody there.
I can't see how you would... And the thing is, the players talk about it as well, you know. Phil Taylor's talked about it, and he's even talked about how you know, when they say darts is a hobby, and he says, if it's a hobby, I want my tax back. Like, it was a pastime. Yeah. But, so it's not something that you wouldn't really know. I get how you could be confused by winnings and earnings, but if you are, you just surely ask the question. Like any question I have, I ask my accountant straight away. He's at the end of the phone. I text him and I just say, is this tax deductible? Is this taxable? Like, I've got a little bit behind me now. So I earn interest on my bank. So I had messaged him and go, right, what do I have to declare all this? Do I have to declare part of this? Do I get a tax-free allowance? Like, because I don't understand it all.
Oh, the bank takes tax off you automatically, don't they? Off your interest.
So, it depends if it's an ISA, if it's a bank. It all depends on what it is, if it's an investment or what. So I asked those questions, and he's literally at the end of the phone to be able to ask. And he's approved and recommended by the PDPA. He's on the PDPA website. When you go to your meetings, he's always there. He's at the arena. Quite regularly, sits there with his big banner up and his table. Players go over and discuss their needs. He comes over to you with your files. You know, there's so much. I think it's impossible not to know.
Okay. All right.
But as an individual case, I can't say for certain, but I would say on a percentage chance, it's over 99% that I think nowadays you'd know.
Okay. Oliver Jar Jar Do is commenting on when we talked about walk-ons, which we've talked on about a lot. And he said, Alan Norris did a really good one 10 years ago. I really hope he could find a bit of form again. I can't remember Alan Norris's walk-on. Can you?
I remember what he changed his song to, but I wouldn't say he did a walk-on. He just put a song on and walked out to a song. Like,
okay.
I wouldn't say it was anything unique.
I only read it out because I thought I really don't remember. I remember playing Alan on the BDO, actually. God, he was a big 180-hitter in the day. Right. A shadow of myself. What a great.
Oh, I've got an Alan Norris story for you, actually.
Oh, okay. Go. Yeah. Interject. Let's go.
So we used to play games for £1, right? And
Tax deductible.
So we used to play games for £1. And what we used to do is we used to name things. Like we used to go like, right, first to 10 double eights equal darts. So we had this thing where like it was like 10 double eights. I'd get 10. It was me, Steve Hine, and Alan Norris. And if it was a draw, if any draw, it was a rollover. So, and we did a draw. It was a rollover. So it's £2 a man. We drew again. Draw £4 a man. Do it again. Draw £8 a man.
Oh my God!
So it's starting to get serious now. And then we got down to, and I got to like 9 double eights. So I only needed 1. Steve Vine was on about 5, so he's quite a bit off. And Norris only had 1. And Steve goes to him. He goes, "Oh, Alan's under pressure here." And he responded to Steve, and he goes, "Not as much pressure as your shoes," which I thought was a quality comeback.
That's the line of the century. That is. I love that.
He then took £8 out of his pocket and chucked it on the hockey because I'm not winning from here. I'm off. So
brilliant. Love it.
Not as much pressure as your shoes. You know, there's one to keep.
Brilliant line. I love that. Right, a shadow of myself has said, Andy, yes, I don't even know when this was from. Eat the bacon, drink the wine. I absolutely agree. I don't want to live to 90 if I can't enjoy my life. On that note, I'll go and eat some birthday cake. I thought, oh, all right, whatever. Liasso88.
That's because we had that conversation about, you know, would you rather never eat bacon sandwiches and live to 50, or would you like to 55 and have to never drink wine?
Remembered. That's why I've got you. You're my memory bank. Right, Liasso88, can you do the next one outside, please, as I want to see that white coat again? No, it's away for the winter. The white coat's well away. It's well away. Right, this is in relation. Now, this comment came in this week, but it's in relation to podcast 28. So somebody's watching the back episodes. Fair play. Gareth Hutchinson. Fair play to you for watching the back episodes. And this is quite good. In regards to the whistling, there should be some sort of way to identify the person responsible and take action. Now, remember, we discussed this. And he goes on to say, let's say if it was something more serious, like racist chants or the like, which we've seen in football, as it's televised, you would think the organisations would firstly have a duty of care, but secondly want to protect their brand. So if there's no way to tackle it yet, then this is an early warning sign for a sport that is growing to think about how these events are policed. Now, I know we spoke about this, and I don't want to go over it all again, Matt, but I thought this is a very good point. We were saying, is it the PDC? Is it the PDPA? Is it Sky? Whose responsibility is it for whistling? So let's park whistling, and let's say some guy in the crowd is shouting racist comments. Who is it down to, Matt? Who's got to sort that out? I know we're being hypothetical because it hasn't happened, but if it did, whose responsibility is it? Is it the broadcaster? Is it the organisation? Is it the promoter? Has to be somebody's. They can't all say it's not my fault, mate.
Well, the PDPA is responsible for the player, so they'd be responsible for the aftercare and any sort of impact that it's had on their emotional well-being, should we say. So that would be the PDPA's job. The broadcaster, their responsibility is to the viewer. So their responsibility is to make sure that the viewer doesn't feel offended by what's been picked up.
Yes, which they can do by the director not broadcasting what's being said. I get that.
The security, which is a different company. Remember, these are different companies. You don't put everyone under one umbrella. No. Like the people see PDC, they see the darts, all PDC. It's not. The security are a different entity. They would be responsible for dealing with the situation on behalf of the PDC who hire them. So essentially, it will always fall on the PDC's table, but they will put it through the security branch to say, why is that not being dealt with?
Got it.
The
Nice.
only issue I do see is the security in any of these sort of things are always outweighed by about 700 people to 1.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What on earth are you going to do?
Same at a football match, isn't it? Please, last game of the season, please don't run on the pitch. It's illegal. Please don't run on the pitch. Yeah, there's like 80 security guards and 40,000 fans. Good luck with that. It's like, on the pitch, lads, come on. It's
the issue you've got. The real issue you've got is a lot of these things. So security is there for a reminder, I feel, rather than an enforcement. And the biggest issue you've got right now is all of these rules and all of these regulations and all of these stipulations are heavily weighed on respect. And a lot of that is really going missing, certainly in sport, certainly in crowd mentality, and dare I say, certainly not with all the younger generation, but we're starting to see respect come out of the world. I mean, look at these idiots, right, who go round and they go make TikToks and YouTube videos where they go round these industrial sites or they go round to people's place of work and stick a drone over the top just to pee them off. And then they go, oh, you can't do anything. I'm doing a lawful activity. Yeah, just because it's not illegal doesn't mean you're not a bellend. Like, yeah. You're being an absolute pillock. You're annoying people for the sake of annoying it. Where's your respect? Just because you can legally do something doesn't mean you're not a disrespectful little...
Yes, bleep. Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. Just and that's a parenting thing for me from when we were little. Just because something isn't illegal doesn't mean you should be doing it. I'd have got a clip. I'd have got a clout. I'd have got a right.
Have a bit of that sunshine.
Yeah. Well, talking of that, you've just segued me perfectly into my comment of the week. Now, and by the way, somebody said, oh, where was the comment of the week last week? Well, there wasn't one. If I don't feel like there's one that's, done it for me, then it doesn't get one. But there is one this week. And it's sometimes something that's a really good question. It's sometimes something that makes me laugh, something that gets my attention. I read every single comment on all the channels. So, Michael Nasters7, please email me, youtube@missiondarts.com, and I'll send you some goodies. All right. Michael says, we don't have a raised hockey in our league. It's a bit of tape on the floor. And we have a guy who fully toes over the line every time. He's always surprised when he gets called out on it. Yet he does it every single week. So we finally made a new line 6 inches nearer to the board and put his name on it as a joke. And he's got the point. He isn't doing it anymore. I should have given him an Edgar slap. So I love that. Imagine you turn up next week and there's an extra line. I mean, you would, but you'd get the point, wouldn't you? I love that. So, yeah, Michael, please email me and I'll send you some goodies. Great.
I hope he's got a really interesting nickname as well.
What, the guy who toes over the line?
Yeah, let's call him Toey.
Toey.
Yeah. Come on, Toey.
It'd be great if his name's Tony. Come on, Toey. No, it's Tony, mate. No, come on, Toey. Get your toe over the line as usual. To be fair, I can remember players doing that back in the day. There was no raised hockeys, were there?
Can the mission goodie we send, can you just send him a mission shirt with Toey on it and they'll have to wear it?
I was thinking of sending him a removable hockey. Right, get behind that one, Tony. There you go. Stick your toe over that one. It's like this high. I always think Gary Anderson's going to do that when he toes the hockey and he puts his foot right over it and then pulls it behind. I always think, is he going to throw with his foot on the hockey? It's always a strange. You do that sometimes, don't you? You kind of feel for the hockey with your feet. Yeah, I've never.
I'll make a video for it if you want. I can tell you why people do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
But by the way, Andy, I've just looked, right?
Yeah.
I can now officially announce that as of today, the 18th of March, 2025, the Mission Darts podcast channel on YouTube has officially earned over £1. Hey!
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant. Yeah, it's monetized, isn't it? I thought you were going to say that the Mission YouTube channel is the biggest darts brand on YouTube. I thought you were going to say that.
I'm getting the sun again. How's the sun getting me again?
Yeah, the sun's came. The sun shines on the righteous, Matt.
I've literally got that tiny little gap open there.
Yeah, you've been a good boy. The sun is shining on you.
This is the problem with having one of the pent ones on the top, you know.
I'm really glad when you pan the camera around then, Matt, that you weren't sat in your boxers. I thought, please don't let him be sat there in his boxers.
From breakfast.
Last comment from the mediocre darts player, and we've got to talk about this because he said about top tips for young players, quality video, lads, and some great tips. But Andy must have been working overtime as you released it at 1 a.m. Should we talk about that, Matt? Technical difficulties. We didn't plan to.
If you are here right now listening to this, this is a call to action. This is a plea. Because we made this video and it got scheduled incorrectly. It got released at 1 o'clock. It is now our worst video we've ever had on the channel. It's absolutely crucified it. If you are hearing this, please go and watch that video, even if you've got no interest in it, and interact with it. It needs interaction, a like, a comment. Just tell us, I'm here from the podcast. Let's see who's going over there and doing so. Please. Tell us you're here from the pod. Hit the like, and if you can, do share that video, because that video could essentially really damage that channel.
It's the latest video. It's called Top Tips for Young Players. It won't be the latest one by now because we're recording this on the Tuesday. You're listening on the Sunday, so there will have been a couple since. But if you could find that video, Top Tips for Young Players, and like Matt says, just give it a ear for the algorithm. Anything in the comments would really, really help us. We try not to make mistakes. We're trying to get 4 videos out a week, full-length videos, which is difficult when we live at different parts of the world and, we're not full-time on this. So, yeah, we don't often ask for your help. We massively appreciate all the comments and all the people that watch the videos. We really do. Hence why we're doing Comment of the Week and various others. We've got plans to do live shows for you and all sorts of things. So please, if you could nip over and have a look at that, that would be great. Thank you very much indeed. One thing I wanted to finish with, when we have these random thoughts.
Yes.
And I was like, something I've never told Matt. Something I'd forgotten myself. I used to have a darts forum. Did you know that? Like when I picked up a dart, I was like, how do I learn about darts? Oh, there aren't any forums. I'll start a forum. And I started a darts forum called Everything Darts. And I wanted to ask our viewers, did anybody ever go on that? I mean, it's long gone, 12, 13 years ago. But I was like, I never told Matt that I had a darts forum. How boring's that? And then I thought, yeah, but I don't tell many people that I was married twice because my first marriage only lasted a month.
Okay.
So can anybody beat that in the comments? Anybody been married less than a month?
I'm going to leave you with a random question then.
Go on. We've not had a top 3 this week.
If you had to spend a week on the diet of any animal, what animal would you choose? Now, this is tricky because dog obviously eats a lot of meat, but it's all sloppy and out-of-date stuff. You don't want to be a fish because it's all those flakes and things. But what animal?
Why is it out-of-date? Why is it out-of-date stuff?
Well, that's what dogs eat, isn't it? They have I'm sure it's out-of-date meat, isn't it? That's in dog's dinner.
It's all dog owners going, I don't give my dog out of date stuff. Anyway, Right, back to the question, which is the randomest question ever.
Cat food stinks. No, week.
Oh God, yeah. Oh.
As any animal's diet.
Yeah, I mean, why have an animal, right, that likes to go outside all the time, but yet does its business in a tray in your kitchen? Like, what's that all about? Like, it goes out all the time. Make it do its business outside, not in your kitchen in a tray. I don't get cats. I really don't. Any cat loves. I'm sorry, but I don't. Right. So any animal, I have to eat what they eat. Oh my God. What? I'm struggling with this because I'm thinking, well, they all eat raw meat. I don't want to eat raw meat. Any animal. I reckon you
meat I eat. Do you know what?
Can I be a lion so I can eat lion bars?
I don't think lions really have a flavour for chocolate.
No, I don't think they do. Any animal, what can I eat?
Do you know what meat I like, Andy? Chateaubriand.
I don't think there's any animals eat that. I don't think an animal goes and drags a cow to the ground, cuts its insides out, gets the most beautiful piece of fillet out of it, and go, oh yeah, I'll have that for my dinner. I don't think there's any animal does that.
Chateaubriand, eh? Oh.
I don't think there's. I'm never gonna let you forget that now. I mean, I'm never gonna let. I don't even. I don't have my anchovies on toast now, and it's not going to top your Chateaubriand, is it? It's just there's nothing. Unless I go and have oysters or something tonight, which you wouldn't eat anyway. But unless I go and have something crazy, how am I going to top Matt's Chateaubriand?
I didn't knew what it was as well. Like when they said, "Matt, do you want the Chateaubriand?" I'm like, "What's that?"
You're like, yeah, that sounds fancy. Bring me some of that. Oh, God.
The Chateaubriand.
Absolutely. Like a nice glass of claret with that, sir. You're like, claret? I'll give you claret in a minute, mate.
Oh, I'm just picturing that. I should have sent you a photo yesterday, just having my Chateaubriand.
Yeah, you should. You should. Right, I've got it. I want to be a whale. Because... have you seen when the whale's swimming along and all the anchovies are swimming and it just gulps down about 1,000 anchovies in one go, like that, the whale, and then off it goes.
All live, though.
They are amazing. Oh, yeah. It'd be nice if you had tickling your throat on the way down. I don't know why that just came to mind.
No. Oh, do you know, speaking of food, do you know when you talk about the tickle in the throat?
Yeah.
Chateaubriand doesn't do that.
No, of course it doesn't.
No, you don't get that from Chateaubriand.
I bet you had it.
What it is like.
I bet you had it like well done or something, didn't you? Crucified it.
Medium rare.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, you are cultured.
With my Chateaubriand.
I love the way you're saying it. Actually, it's one of the few words in the English language that you can say properly. So, Chateaubriand.
And we'll be doing it again tonight. And then tomorrow, when I'm back home, it's back to burgers.
Pound burgers. No, you want to get home. Go, Jodie, when she says, what do you fancy for your tea? Chateaubriand, please. She'll be like, get out. Oh, dear. Well, enjoy the rest of today, Matt. I'm jealous. The sun's shining there. You're doing a pro tour. You've picked your winner. I hope it goes well. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening, as always.
Top tips for young players. Give us some love.
Top tips for young players. Give us some love. We'll catch you again next week on the podcast. Cheers, guys. See you later.